only did he win the endorsement of the aforementioned Vance, potential primary challenger Mitch Daniels said he would not run. In a rare move, the NRSC threw its weight behind his candidacy for the Senate as well. Joining me now, J.D. Vance, Ohio Senator, and Jim Banks, Indiana Congressman. Senator Vance, all right, before we get into the news that you were initially here for, what is your initial reaction to this news about Nikki Haley?
Well, Laura, you know I've endorsed President Trump. I think that he's the likely nominee in 2024. I certainly think that he's the best nominee because he delivered on his promises, and I think we ought to give him a chance during a second term to deliver on more of those promises. I'm not here to beat up on any of the other candidates, but I think Trump's going to win, and I think he'll be the best nominee for the party. Congressman Banks, your thoughts on Nikki Haley? I mean, everybody knows Nikki Haley is just a lovely person. She was considered, quite formidable at the UN. She's more of an establishment favorite. I saw someone online today saying should be the Jeb Bush of 2024. I don't know if that's fair or not. But she's, understood to be a little bit more establishment. Certainly not a populist conservative, but she has a lot of fans out there.
Well, I'm sure she won't be the last candidate to get into the race, but there's a reason that Donald Trump is the front runner in this race early on. He's the leader of the Republican Party for a big reason. He changed America in such a significant way, and we've seen in 2 short years the Biden administration undo most of the progress that Donald Trump made for this great country. And America is hungry for to go back to that type of leadership that we had when Donald Trump was in office. So this race has a long ways to go. I'm sure there'll be others who get in the race, but there's a good reason that Donald Trump is the front runner today.
All right, now for the reason we're here, J.D. Vance, you know that my big concern about the Senate is that it really doesn't reflect the core, the feeling, the heart of the American conservative today. That is much more, globalist and so forth. So why is Jim Banks the right man to be the next senator from the state of Indiana?
Well, Laura, what you just said is the very reason why I think Jim Banks should be the next senator from Indiana. He comes from a working class family. He does not want a Republican Party that represents the interests of the globalists. Like you said, he wants a Republican Party that represents normal Americans, workers, middle class people who go to work, pay their taxes, and want to live in safe and secure communities. He's great on all the issues. He's also a good friend. And I just, I've been in the Senate for all of a month, Laura, but I know that we need as many good people who are America First conservatives in the Senate as possible. And Jim Banks is that guy. And I'll say to your viewers, Laura, of course, if they're in Indiana, I hope that they'll vote for Jim Banks in the primary and the general election. But there are things that they can do all across the country. Go to banksforsenate.com to support him, because we need his support to come from the grassroots, not from the donor community. All these things, getting Jim elected, getting him elected in the right way is the way to transform the Senate and transform the country. But he's a great guy, a great candidate. I think he's going to make a great senator.
Well, Congressman Banks, that must be weird. You're sitting there hearing all these good things said about you. But so I'm not going to ask you, do you have a retort? Do you want to take issue with anything he said? But what about the early voting problem nationwide? What's the status of early voting in Indiana for our viewers out there who aren't sure how it goes there?
Well, we have better voter ID laws in Indiana than many other states in the country. So that's the silver bullet. We need all states to pass strong voter ID laws like my state has. So at the same time, we got to do more to ban ballot harvesting. Heading into the 2024 election, we have to secure our elections. When half of the American people say that they don't trust our elections, we have a crisis in this country. We need to do everything we can to restore trust in that process. So we can do that at the state level, state by state. But there are ways that the federal government can amend existing federal election laws to ban ballot harvesting and all mail-in ballot processes that led to the shenanigans that happened in the 2020 election.
Yeah, or if you're going to do it, just do it like Florida does. In less exciting news, guys, here was Adam Schiff on his own bid for the Senate on Sunday.
I need to get out and stand up for the values of Californians in a time when our democracy is so deeply at risk. We're seeing their quality of life at risk, who are deeply concerned about the future for their kids, and start to entertain a demagogue who promises that he alone can fix things.
Okay, Senator Vance, he's right. Our culture, our way of life is at risk because of Democrat rule. We went through the GDP, wipeout for the United States, and the projections over the next 2 years were getting killed under Biden's policy. So he's right. Everything's at risk, but they're the ones to blame.
Yeah, thanks to Adam Schiff, we, of course, have sky-high inflation. Thanks to Joe Biden, too. We also, thanks to Adam Schiff, of course, have a weaponized Department of Justice where the leadership of the FBI is going after their political opponents from Donald Trump on down. Adam Schiff is part of the problem. It's one of the reasons why we need to get Congressman Banks in the United States Senate, because if, God forbid, in 2 years I'm serving with Adam Schiff, I'm really going to need reinforcements then, and Banks is exactly the guy to do it.
All right, how many populist, conservative, kind of America firsters are there in the Senate? I mean, give me a count. Well, you must have counted. How many are there?
Not more than two hands worth, Laura. So we definitely could use as many reinforcements as possible.
All right, gentlemen, great to see both of you. We're very excited about Congressman Banks' run.